The thrift stores have gone to literal everything is Shein. Everything is Shein.
And he was like, oh, well, like, you know, if it's like lower end stuff, like it might be real, but like anytime you see something designer and they're like, it's fake.
That's why stuff is ending up in landfills. Look at these prices. They're all $40.
They are evil corporations, so switch the tax.
You gentrifiers have ruined thrifting for all of us.
Thrifting used to be the move for anyone who wanted to save money and find something unique. A genuine alternative to fast fashion and retail. Well, today we're looking at how thrift stores went from a budget shopper's best kept secret to something that's starting to feel just as expensive as the stores people were trying to avoid in the first place. So how did we get to a place where a used t-shirt at Goodwill costs more than a brand new t-shirt at your local Target? When did Goodwill get so expensive? I went in and didn't even get 10 things and it was still $60. Yeah, not even getting 10 things and it's still super expensive. Now, I remember when I used to go to Goodwill for everything. This was back when I was in college, so, you know, pre-COVID times. And wow, what a good thrifting experience. We had a bunch of stores in my Midwestern city. Goodwill was still good. I never paid more than like, I don't know, $3-4 for a shirt, which is kind of crazy considering that's not really the norm anymore. I don't know, maybe if your guys' local Goodwill doesn't charge basically the same price, or maybe, you know, oh, $3 or $4 less than what the retail price is. But it used to be genuine good deals. And I think, or maybe I'm thinking of a different thrift store, but at Goodwill, they would have like the different tags. I haven't been to Goodwill in a long time. I haven't shopped specifically in Goodwill because I went back and I'm like, the prices are kind of horrible. So I would rather just go to the mall and shop at like Nordstrom Rack or in the clearance section, you know, when they're trying to clear out all the clothes, because you still get good deals. They are evil corporations, so switch the tags. Now, I'm not advocating for switching tags, but if you are an adult, you make your adult decision. Put things in your purse. Oh my God, everyone is saying to steal. Don't steal, because again, karma will come back to you if you believe in that sort of thing. I do, so I definitely don't do things like this. 2020, when thrifting became a trend, I guess, was that inability to be a trend? Weren't we supposed to be locked up indoors?
I just heard some very interesting tea at Goodwill. So I was just doing my thing, like shopping around, and all of a sudden one of the employees sort of started panicking. And she was like, where's the Supreme hoodie? Where's the Supreme hoodie? Like, you weren't supposed to put that out, to her coworker. And he, of course, was like, well, I didn't put it out. And she was like, yeah, like the Supreme hoodie and the 2 Bape shirts, like those were not supposed to be put out. Like, where are they? We have to find them because now they're on the floor and they were supposed to be sent out. And in my head, I was like, sent out? Like, what do you mean sent out? So then all of a sudden, a bunch of employees are trying to find these like missing goods, and my curiosity got the best of me. So finally, like, I just asked one of them. I was like, where are you sending the Supreme hoodie? And he said, oh, like, we're sending it off. I was like, you're sending it off like to the showcase? Because I go to this Goodwill all the time and they have like a showcase where they put nicer things. And he was like, no, like we're sending it off to headquarters, like to be sold. I was like, headquarters? Like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, like, you know, like if we ever get like designer bags or like really nice jewelry, we just send it off to sell it online. So I automatically am like, what about the stuff that you're marking up in the showcase? Because they always have good shit in the showcase. And he was like, oh, well, like, you know, if it's like lower end stuff, like it might be real, but like anytime you see something designer and they're like, it's fake. It's fake. The designer stuff in the showcase is marked at like 50, 60, 70 bucks. So in my head, I'm like, let me get this straight. Every single thing that Goodwill is receiving is free. It is a donation. They are taking the expensive designer pieces, sending them off, so not even the consumer can get them, but sending them off to be resold online. And then you're marking up the prices of things that you either cannot confirm are real or know for a fact are fake. That's crazy to me. And this same location, again, I go here all the time, recently marked up all of their prices. Like a long sleeve used to be, I think, $7.99, and today when I went in, it was $12.99. I was like, I was in here 2 days ago and you marked it up that much? So I don't know what to do with this information because I'm a big thrifter. I'm an avid goer to Goodwill, and now I just feel like pissed.
Yeah, that sounds like a complete scam. I mean, I guess I understand it, but also you're getting these items for free, right? They're donations. you know, the person giving you these items get their little slip for the IRS and stuff like that so they can write it all down. Supreme hoodie, or what is Supreme even that popular that it needs to be sent to headquarters? So you're just reselling it online, and I'll try to show what Goodwill online looks like. But then you have a showcase where you're selling knockoffs. That does seem kind of fraudulent in my personal opinion. Have you guys dealt with this? I work at Goodwill. They send high-end items to e-com. It's our online selling website, kind of like eBay. Meanwhile, their CEO makes close to $700,000 annually, which is still low on the CEO pay scale, but I think that just goes to show how kind of screwed and cooked we are as a nation, as a global community, when that is a low amount of money for a CEO to get paid. Donate to mom and pop thrift stores only. Donate to mom and pop thrift stores only, okay? Stop donating to Goodwill, thanks. Yeah, it's just the convenience of Goodwill where you just take your car, drive up and drive out. Like you're in and out in like 5 minutes, unless it's a weekend and there's a super long line.
This is why stuff is ending up in landfills. Look at these prices. I think a mega blocks. There's 3 bags here.
That's at $40.
They're all $40. I found someone's wedding guest book at the thrift store.
So how are you going to sell it for $1 more than the original price? Okay, CVS price $5.99, Goodwill price $5.99, Goodwill price $5.99. You know what, I think they got lazy because it looks like everything just costs $5.99. So maybe they were super lazy and were like, whatever, we're just gonna mark this to $6. I don't care if it's, you know, originally costing $5 like most of these items did. $6, whatever. That's your fault for not finding it originally. $9 Old Navy flip-flops. Who has ever paid $9 for Old Navy flip-flops? Used ones at that. This is absolutely ridiculous. No, she is correct. This is outrageous thrift store pricing, especially for the blocks. Now I'm gonna try to find those blocks and put it on the screen here for what they are normally supposed to cost. If they're normally supposed to cost roughly around $40, that's still a scam. And I feel so bad for parents. Like, how much are you guys paying for your kids? I mean, we love the kids, but these ones you definitely need to disinfect like twice at a minimum versus, I don't know if any of you guys are disinfecting your kids' toys, but they're putting them in their mouth, right? It's just so greedy. It's really greedy. They get it for free. Exactly. They get all of these items for free. Old Navy flip-flops are $1. Has Goodwill gone insane? I think so. What was it, $9 that it said? Diabolical pricing.
You gentrifiers have ruined thrifting for all of us. I literally wanted the shirt. $100? That defeats the purpose of thrifting.
What was that? Just a Betty Boop shirt on Universal? What was that? Universal Studios? Yeah, for me, that doesn't seem like it's worth $100. I don't know where people are getting that. I hope at least it's cotton, made from like organic cotton. Doubt it, but what? I mean, is it a collector's item? Collector's items, I understand, will go for a lot more money, but $100? Are we seriously paying for stuff like this? Did she not just switch the tags for maybe a viral video? I don't know.
Going thrifting at the Goodwill bins has virtually ruined every other thrift experience that I've ever had, because what do you mean I walk into a normal thrift store where everything's hanging up and I find a shirt I like, I gotta pay for $7. If I go dig through trash, I can get this for 15 cents. And I went thrifting today as a celebration for my recent successes. And as soon as I walked in, I saw somebody's entire iced coffee spilled on the floor. Major bummer, super sorry if that has ever happened to you. But look what I found that never would have found for 10 cents anywhere else. Sure, touched a few dirty underwear, but like, okay, like, glove me up, doc, I'm going in.
Okay, so I have never actually heard of what a Goodwill bin is before, so this is a learning experience. If you don't know what it is, let's find out together. So according to Reddit r/flipping, look for a Goodwill outlet. It's what's called bins. I've only ever been there one time myself, and it was weird. People show up in lines at the beginning of the day and literally camp all day waiting for new bins to fill up while guarding their loot. It smells terrible, as she was saying in the video, And a few bins I looked up were full of broken glass. Maybe not all are this way, but it stopped me from going back. Yeah, that was my experience when I first went. I got bored a year later and decided to get another chance. I started picking up $100 plush consistently. I figured they're all going for clothes, but no one's looking at the toys that just need a clean. I mean, that's interesting. So it sounds like it's genuinely a bin and people are lining up in order to, 10, 15 cents, whatever she said she got for that shirt. Is it my personal preference? No, but a shirt like that would probably go for $25 to $50. Again, my whole perspective on what clothing costs is skewed, but that is a good deal. And you just need to run it through the washing machine like a couple times for a 15-cent shirt. Doesn't sound too bad to me.
If you go thrifting, I need you to shut up and listen for just 2 seconds. The amount of biohazards that I was exposed to as an employee of a thrift store should have been illegal. There was a time that someone donated skates with dead rats in them. I was told to pull them out with gloves, wipe them down with Clorox, and put them on the floor. And another time, I was told to follow this guy around and spray anything he touched. I didn't know why until he left. My manager told me that he was sticking his hand completely up his butt and touching things. I was exposed to feces for $7.50 an hour. You get really lucky if they even take the time to spray your clothes with Febreze. I know that thrifting is fun. I know that for some people that is the only means that they can receive new clothes, get new clothes. But you need to be prepared to go home, take off all your clothes, and wash them along with everything that you purchased. Because even though all of their stock is donated and all of it is free, they do not care enough to provide a sanitary environment for their shoppers. That's it. Bye.
Okay, so now we understand the low price that she got her sweatshirt for 15 cents. That is absolutely disgusting. And she said you're getting it for free. I don't know what sort of Goodwill bin or store she was at. I don't think she said Goodwill specifically. I'll correct myself if she did in the edit here, but what is even going on? Dead rats? Is that worth it to you? That's not worth some free clothes for me. Let me know how you guys feel. Maybe you're gonna come in with a hazmat suit and pick your clothes. Right on, righteous, good for you, do whatever you want to do, but that doesn't seem worth the price for me. Thrifting has ruined my pricing mentality. Anything over £5 disgusts me. I'm with you there because thrifting, back when I was doing it again in college, it ruined my mentality on everything as well, because now when I go to an actual retail store, and God forbid I go to a high-end, like a Neiman Marcus or a place like that, is Neiman Marcus still around? God forbid, like a Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom, stuff like that, where, the nicer brand names are. I don't even look at the price tags on those. I will go straight to like the clearance section, but still it's pretty expensive, but a little bit more palatable. But thrifting ruined my whole idea on stuff like this. I would always go to TJ Maxx. Now, I have not really purchased my own clothes. I am not a shopper. I don't care for shopping. I have never been into shopping like that. So I would just go and find the cheapest stuff, or my mom will get me clothes, at the ripe old age of in my late 20s here. I don't know. What about you guys? Are you shocked by the price of clothing? I know I am. Walked into H&M last week and had a heart attack. I can get it cheaper on Vinted. Like, I'm not paying 25 euros for a plain white shirt. Exactly.
This is why I stopped thrifting. So my first reason, and this is what caused me to take a big step back, I think that the quality of thrift stores have decreased a ton. I feel like racks are now filled with all these fast fashion brands like Shein, Boohoo Man, H&M, everything, but their markups make no sense at all. Why is a Shein item being tagged at $10? Why am I finding a leather jacket for $80 when I could find the same one at a Fleet for $40? I remember this one time in particular, I was buying Levi's for $10 and they took them from me, said this is the wrong tag, and then gave them back to me for $25. Just crop dust me at that point. Now you guys might think, oh, the Goodwill bins are a great alternative. And while I do support shopping there, that place. That place is no longer for me, bro. 2 reasons why I used to go there and low-key get bullied, dude. I get it. I was outing, their spot, but a big fuck you to you guys. And I'm gonna show you guys on screen because I'm petty. The bins also leads into a ton of overconsumption, which brings me into my second point. I think shopping secondhand is great, and I've always been an advocate for it. I always preach sustainability, but if you are over-consuming, how sustainable is it? This was the crossroads that I was left at when I was starting DJing. Everything that I was previously buying, I was ultimately buying for no reason. Now, if you're OG, I bet you remember when I used to sell on Depop. I had the new method series. I would buy all these clothes and I would sell just stuff I didn't really like. Once I developed more of a curation, and that's such a buzzword on my phone, when I found more of my personal style, style, I ultimately could not find certain things at the thrift anymore.
And that's fair, especially with the bins. So I'm glad it sounds like he had a more sanitary experience, so that wasn't one of his downsides. Getting bullied in the thrift store is pretty crazy. But overconsumption is a really good point too. Do we need all of these things that we have in our closet? When I moved abroad, started my little nomadic lifestyle, I had to really sit down and go through all the items I had for clothing and determine, do I really want this? Is this worth the weight in my luggage, right? So I can fit all of my items in one large suitcase and a backpack. Now, of course, I'm not saying you need to do this, especially if you have a stable home, right? But it's worth noting that even if you do have a good thrift store with good deals, or you're able to get, clothing for cents on the dollar, determine, is it really worth it? Or are you just going for a dopamine hit? Those are the same reasons that I stopped thrifting too. Once you find your personal style, it becomes really hard to thrift. It gets to a point where I'd rather save the money spent on thrifting for individual pieces that will last a long time. And I think that is perfect and a great way to prevent yourself from over consuming and overbuying and buying things that you necessarily don't want, and instead having that go to someone else who may like it. But I guess in reality, most of those clothing items will end up in a landfill anyway. So maybe it's good to rehome it for a little bit.
The thrift stores have gone to a literal everything is Shein, and on top of that, they want to price it even more than what it probably would have cost on Shein. Make it make sense. Goodwill, like, wake up.
I mean, listen to her. Shein, I have never purchased anything from Shein, but from what I hear, Shein, Temu, is Fashion Nova still a thing? Those are supposed to be cheaper alternatives to, the retail stores, your Targets, even your Walmarts, especially whatever you get in the malls, in the department stores. But if Goodwill... I'm sorry, I can't even believe this. If Goodwill is costing more than what it originally cost on Shein, that's diabolical and it needs to be reevaluated. Again, I don't understand how Goodwill is still even in business at this point. I am sure, and maybe we're gonna get into some videos on people who formerly worked at Goodwill, but if anyone here is currently working at Goodwill and can, verify, are you guys actually... Are you the employees just knowledgeable on what things cost? And two, are you guys looking up, when you're making these tags, checking the tag, are you making it the same as what it would cost at the retail price? What is going on? Also, they don't make good quality clothing anymore, so the thrift will eventually just be polyester and spandex. Don't we love that? Isn't that wonderful? Clothing swaps are where it's at. Bring the girlies together and just trade at this point. I would if my friends were the same size as me, but I'm a little bit bigger, so. It would be good for them though. If you're liking this video so far, subscribe. I make videos like this twice a week. Let's get back into the video.
Buying secondhand has completely ruined their brain when it comes to how much you think things are supposed to cost.
I refuse to buy anything full price because after being an avid thrifter for over 20 years, I am shocked when I walk into a normal store like a TJ Maxx even, or an Urban Outfitters. I am just flabbergasted by these prices, especially when I look at the garment tag and it's 100% polyester or 97% polyester with some cotton blend. I'm like, why am I paying $50 for this top when you could thrift better quality items from the thrift store or online at any of these apps and come out way better? I just don't get it because I'm not buying that full price.
Right, there's a reason why Poshmark and Depop are exploding in popularity. It's because even your Goodwills, whatever your normal thrift stores would cost, right? Retail stores out of pocket with how much it costs. And then I'm mostly disgusted, and she mentioned this in the video, is the fabric being used. So not only is it expensive, again, I understand, I know there's some people who are going to be commenting, well, we truly don't understand how expensive these garments are to make. Genuinely, they are, it's not necessarily just made in a factory. All of our garments really are handmade. It's just they're made incredibly quickly because from my understanding and watching all those sort of documentaries on where people are creating these garments, so again, this is just a surface level understanding, is most of them are either paid per garment or by the weight of a garment. So they're churning these out as fast as they can. And it is still made by a person. Someone made this themselves. It wasn't necessarily just made by a machine. It was at least made by a machine and a human being. For how much, we don't know. Now, again, with Goodwill, when you're donating your clothes, in theory, The useful life of the garment should be used up, therefore it should cost less. But a lot of these garments are coming from, Target, Shein, and realistically, they're probably being made in the same factories or similar, right? It's not like Target has much better quality vendors that they're going to. They're probably pretty adjacent. Again, I don't know anything particular in, with the supply chain on that. That's just what I'm assuming. This is all alleged, stuff like that. So someone more knowledgeable, please drop your knowledge in the comments. But again, with polyester, I don't want to pay that premium on crappy fabric. Except the jeans at the thrift store are now $50 because they're researching every item that comes through now. So real. That's why I prefer hole-in-the-wall thrift stores and the resellers on Teleport who have more affordable prices. Yeah, it's not necessarily the price, but the horrible quality attached to that price when I can get something high quality secondhand. Exactly. I don't want to pay good prices for polyester. I'm really sick of it. I don't want to pay that price for rayon, any sort of gross fabric that's not breathable and will just stink after, 5 uses.
Becoming a thrifter was one of the best and the worst things that's probably ever happened to me because I love a good deal, right? Like I love me a good deal. And I've been finding some really cool things at the thrift stores, okay? But now tell me why I cannot go in to a normal store and go shopping. Like, it genuinely hurts me to go into normal stores because of how expensive everything is. I just went to Kohl's to drop off a few Amazon returns, and I was like, I'll just check out the clearance, while I'm in here. It's like right here. It says up to 70% off. So I was like, hell yeah. No. Tell me why every single thing in the clearance was still $17, $30, $28. Who is paying those prices for one single sweater?
Also, this is at Kohl's. Shouldn't Kohl's be one of the more inexpensive places? Maybe in my experience, when I go to the clearance racks of places, it's not that expensive. So I'm not sure what's going on with that situation. But as someone who's not very familiar with Kohl's, is it due to maybe Kohl's Cash? I know with that sort of deal, never used Kohl's Cash in my life. I only went to Kohl's probably 3 times in my life. So if someone could explain it in the comments, maybe I'll pop a blurb of what goes on with Kohl's Cash. But I think that's sort of something that you would put towards your deal, so you just stack those deals up and it's cheaper that way. But the more kids I have, the less willing I am to pay for anything. I believe it. Just keep, the hand-me-downs. That's why the younger sibling always got the older sibling stuff. Yes, when I go shopping, I'm like, I can get this at the thrift store for $3, especially Aerie and American Eagle. It's so freaking ridiculous. Clearance should be $10 and under. Bring back 2016 prices. I gotta say, I do miss 2016. I'm very nostalgic for that era. But that's all the videos I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and I'll see you in the next one. I think you'll like this video next.